I shot an arrow. It hit the target of the mechanical device dead center, as the metal ring kept spinning. Everyone's eyes were locked on the device. They were all very curious about it. When the mechanism hit the iron nail, sand from the glass ball started pouring into the mud bowl. One by one, the other glass balls shattered. Once the sand in the bowl gathered enough weight, the dagger on the other side cut the rope. The clay pots were instantly freed. Before anyone could react, the pots all tipped over. They immediately filled the pool. The overflowing water flowed into the surrounding ditches, spreading outward. The audience watched in curiosity. Suddenly, a drop of thick liquid fell near a man's ear. He gently rubbed it with his finger. It turned out to be oil. The next second, oil began to burst out from the walls around us. Realizing the danger, the crowd went into chaos. But just then, the arena's exit was closed off. Soon after, soldiers on the city walls lit their arrows. Once the oil had gathered, they immediately shot the arrows toward the center of the arena. The oil was instantly ignited. Fierce flames quickly spread along the ditches. Seeing this, I jumped into the arena. Then I started using sand to put out the fire. In the end, we successfully extinguished the flames. But just then, a transparent scorpion appeared. That day, I was washing my hair by the river. I didn't expect the shampoo I used to poison the fish in the water, so I tried to make a fire by rubbing 2 sticks together, but after an hour of trying, I still failed. Then I lit a cigarette and fell asleep on the ground. By nightfall, I finally ate some grilled fish. I had been trapped here for 3 days, and it was the first thing I'd eaten in all that time. That night, a few pigeons ate the leftover fish, and they were poisoned too. So that's how I got more food to eat. One day, while squatting on the ground in a daze, I accidentally found a pack of instant noodles. Inside, there was still a small packet of seasoning. The picture of noodles on the package made me crave them even more. So I really wanted to eat noodles like that. First, I dug a hole in the ground. Then I searched for undigested seeds and bird droppings. After finding some, I started farming the land. I mixed the seeds with the droppings and planted them. Every day, I worked hard. And after 6 months, my crops finally grew corn. When the corn ripened, I began making noodles. I ground the corn into flour. Then add water to knead the dough. After a long and complicated process, I finally made a bowl of handmade noodles. When the noodles were ready, I took out that precious packet of seasoning. After waiting nearly 200 days, I finally tasted those delicious noodles. At that moment, tears of joy rolled down my face. But that night, heavy rain fell. All my crops were destroyed. Even my makeshift shelter was washed away by the flood. The next morning, I stared hopelessly at the devastation. Just then, 2 sanitation workers appeared behind me. They came to take me off the island. I looked at them in despair, unable to say a single word.
Levi? Countless monsters were closing in fast. Before the man could react, one of the monsters grabbed his arm, so I immediately kicked the creature off the cliff to save him. But there was no time to relax. More and more monsters started climbing up. Our car was collapsing under the pressure and could fall at any moment. Levi quickly handed me a wooden box. I used it to jam the gas pedal. The car slowly crawled up the cliff, but the monsters attacked again. Levi grabbed a machete and fought desperately, but there were far too many of them. He couldn't hold them off alone, so I picked up an axe and fought by his side. We knocked the monsters off the cliff one by one, but just as we paused to catch our breath, another monster lunged at us. Levi almost fell into the canyon. Luckily, he managed to grab the railing in time. Below us, the monsters were still climbing. So Levi made a crazy decision. He slashed the car's fuel tank open. Gasoline quickly poured down onto the monsters. Then Levi climbed onto the car and threw a Molotov at them. Flames spread rapidly. The monsters were burned to ashes, but the fire also ignited the fuel tank. The explosion blasted the monsters into the sky. Fortunately, we dodged just in time to avoid the blast. I quickly cut the steel cable, and we finally escaped the monsters' attack.
I was holding a tree branch. The blooming tree instantly withered and died. At the same time, I could feel myself getting younger. To test my superpower, I immediately assembled a medical team. When the doctor came close to examine me, I reached out and grabbed his neck. Within just a few seconds, the young doctor turned into an old man, and I could clearly feel myself becoming younger. Everyone around me stared in fear. The feeling of regaining my youth was intoxicating, amid a chorus of screams. I drained the life from all of them. When it was over, I had turned into a handsome young man. Soon after, I founded my own church. The followers worshipped me devoutly. They called me the Savior. I walked up to a man whose legs were paralyzed, placed my hands on his legs, and his shriveled muscles began to heal. In an instant, he stood up completely cured. The crowd erupted. Everyone was stunned by what they had just seen. Then another man stepped forward. His body was covered in burn scars. He had suffered endless humiliation because of it. So he begged me to heal him. I reached out my hand, and the scars on his body vanished instantly. That miraculous moment filled every sick believer with hope. By then, I had completely gained their trust. But but in reality, my power came from an accident. A month earlier, a mysterious man had died. His family honored his last wish and donated all his organs. But that man had been someone with supernatural powers. He wanted to pass his power onto the world through his body, and I was one of the recipients. By receiving his organs, I inherited his power. Each recipient had a unique symbol on their wrist, and the ability they gained depended on which organ they received. So I decided I wanted all of those powers for myself. That day I held a charity gala, but it was actually a trap. As expected, several people with powers showed up that night.